So what I want to do is introduce you guys to Myrtle. Myrtle, I don't even remember your last name, sorry.
It's Mitten.
Okay, so I met...
With an O instead of an E, so Mitten with an O.
Good. So we are fairly new in meeting each other, but we've been able to connect a couple of times now. And you're working at the KW Pregnancy Center. And where is that located?
That's 38 Francis Street South. That's in downtown Kitchener, so it's one block over from King, the intersection of King and Charles.
Right. Yeah.
Many knows kind of where that. You know what? If you know what the tannery building is, then you know where it is, because they've converted the tannery building into all sorts of offices, and I have no idea what's upstairs, but we're on the main floor. Yeah.
Cool. So what I wanted to just recap a couple of things. When I think about why I wanted to do a series on abortion, really when I went back this past week just to think about like my vision and what my objectives and kind of goals are, and when I think about it, really the vision is that I would see less women have abortions and more women find freedom from their abortion experiences and if they're dealing with issues post-abortion, and then really to create a genuine love in us as a congregation that knows how to support and come alongside of women who are in unplanned pregnancies, and how to be really tangible in that. And also to become aware of the extreme pain that goes on with abortion. And I think I shared this last week that in my mind I knew it was a moral issue, but really becoming much more aware of the pain and the number of things that come up afterwards, that whether you're a Christian or you're not, or you thought you made the right choice, or you didn't want to make the choice but were coerced into it, there's repercussions that come afterwards that most women don't know about, and I definitely, from the outside looking in, just felt like you did it, I don't agree with what you did, and now the decision's been made, but it really doesn't stop there. So what I want to do today, I think about kind of the goals for and the objectives for today is to help we're going to do some role play, so I'm going to be pregnant. I've experienced in this now a few times. But unplanned pregnancy, and I walk into the center, how does it work, how does it operate? Because for me, I really had no idea what goes on at a pregnancy center. And what I really wanted was to have someone come in specifically from the center so that you're not just hearing me share, so that when you share with somebody that like, well, I have this friend who knows somebody kind of thing, but now you're going to have a chance to meet Myrtle. I know, like, if you ever are in touch with a coworker or somebody, you've got a face. I met this woman, she's fantastic. She's at the pregnancy center. There's some great things and information that would be really helpful for you to be. So I just wanted to take you one step closer. And then we'll talk also about the abortion side of it. They do post-abortion recovery groups, is that right?
Yes.
What's it called again that you take you through?
It's called PARS, Post-Abortion Recovery, and the program's called Living in Color.
Okay, awesome. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll also role play, like, so you know someone who has had an abortion, and what do you do, or is it, do you bring it up? Is it something you talk about over the phone with them? Is it something you do face-to-face, or how does that work? So, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, so thank you for inviting me. It really is, our hope is to just demystify the A word, because it's become such a big mystery, and we are either poles on one side and it becomes more antagonistic, so we kind of want to bring it down the street level to the personal level and help us to be able to relate to just people in general. So I think that's kind of what we're doing.
We talked about how it's really become such a political thing, and that's where it grows in people's heads, and it creates that antagonism, but being able to see people for who they are, that's right. Let me think here where I want to go next here. Why don't we, so here's what happened. So I walked into the pregnancy center, and everything is trapped there, so you walk in, but everything's really confidential. Is that
yes,
right?
that is, it's, confidentiality is huge for us at the center. It's quite important, so we watch everything that we say and that we do, and so that you can feel safe. So if somebody walks in, one of the first things we want to do is create that feeling of safety and confidentiality and support, and that non-judgment. That's something that we really want to do.
So you'll just like write down their name, but not the last name.
Yeah. So we will never see first and the last name written out in the open. It'll just be first name, and then it's done by number. All our files are kept under lock and key. We're also governed by a group called CAPSIS, which is kind of like a governing body that just makes sure that all the practices and procedures are up to par. So that's really, really good.
Okay, so I walk in and I am pregnant, unplanned. Yeah. Where are you going to take me to, or what do we do? What's the first thing?
So the Pregnancy Center has been for over 25 years, so I don't know how many of you are aware of the KW Pregnancy Center. Okay, so it's been around for a long time in the communities, which is really awesome. And we have excellent support across the Christian community, which is excellent. So because we're totally non-profit, so we're funded by donations and the generosity of people, so that's really good. Typically somebody will call in and they'll think they're pregnant, or we'll invite them to come in to have a pregnancy test. So what's one of the first things we do is, we have a nice sitting room that you've seen, and then we'll sit down and do the pregnancy test and just kind of talk with them and kind of find out.
Okay, so I come in, I say, I'm pregnant. Okay. This is not cool. My boyfriend is not really in the scene, and my parents live in Alberta, and I don't know what my options are, but I don't think I go through with this. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm really glad you're here, Suzanne. So first thing we want to do is just kind of find out a little bit about you. Tell me, who are you? What do you enjoy? What do you like to do? What are some of your future plans and your goals and things like that?
Right, so lots of questions at the beginning.
Lots of questions. So the really thing is to just pull out of you kind of, okay, where are you at? What are you thinking? Since what have you been thinking since, when you found out you were pregnant, and since you come here, what sort of thoughts have been racing through your head?
Right. Okay, so basically I can't have this baby. I'm in my second year of schooling, and like my parents, if they find out, will freak out on me, and I'm living with my boyfriend, but like it's not a good thing. Like I'm not marrying this guy. I don't know, like if I have a baby, I can't finish school. Like I don't know where I'm gonna live. I don't have a job.
Okay. All right. So just take a deep breath.
That's probably a lot of it, right?
Yeah. Because typically, if you're in a crisis, most time it's a crisis, and everything is like terrible. I kind of real quick just grab the definition of crisis for you. And a long time ago, we used to actually call the pregnancy center the crisis pregnancy center, but they don't call it that anymore. It's just called the pregnancy center. And so a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger, emergency, disaster, catastrophe, calamity. Those are typically the emotions that are going through a client as they come in. So part of my job is to just kind of, okay, let's just calm down and let's just kind of process what's going on and help you to make a decision that you're going to be able to live with long term. Because typically in a catastrophe or calamity, you're thinking short term, you're just thinking about right now. Right now, I can't manage right now, I don't have a place to live right now, and it's all now. So how can I just kind of get you to calm down a little bit and then think about long term, where do you want to be, or where do you want, and things like that. One of the things we do at the center is, because the work we're in, we have to be very careful that we don't coerce or manipulate or try to force you to make a decision that goes along with what I would want you to be. So I really try to come from the standpoint of what's going to be the best for you, right? What's the best for you, and how can you help me to make a decision that's going to, that you're going to be able to work with long term. So we need to kind of go through that.
And what I really appreciated we did this kind of role play at the center. Like she just asked a ton of questions, and it really was about letting me speak and just get things like out there. Yeah. And the way you directed it, facilitated the conversation, it was about me just beginning to process. So that was really helpful. A big part of what you do.
Yes, a big part of what we do, and sometimes I would love to say that we get everybody to decide that this is the way they want to go, is they want to either parent or choose to release for adoption or something like that. But what we try to do is just to get them know that. We're here for you, and we want you to be able to know that you have that support.
Right. And so when we were role playing this, it was like, okay, like you would ask me what am I thinking? I'm like, my girlfriend has said like just get an abortion, it's over and done with. It's just quick. It doesn't have to just go to the hospital, and you can solve this really quickly. So I feel like I don't want to do that, but I feel like that's the best option.
Okay. So I heard you say that you're having some conflict with what your girlfriend said. So tell me a little bit about that. Why you maybe think you're having this conflict in your mind?
Well, I don't think it's like, I wouldn't choose this if like I was in a better place in my life. Like I understand that it's not the, this is maybe this is the life, and it's not for me to take, but like crisis mode, this is where everything's going, right?
So then
that's what happens.
That's exactly what happens. And you want to go back into the crisis, and I want to say, okay, no. Okay, so now tell me a little bit about your faith base. Do you have a faith? Where does that play into your thinking?
Okay, so I'll play the role of, I believe in there's a God out there. Like I don't go to church or anything, but I think like there's a God.
Okay. All right, so that's really good. So do you think that plays into your conflict that you're having about your girlfriend said just go get it over, but you don't think that this is something that you want to do?
Well, I just think that maybe like I'll like strike me down or something.
Okay.
Do people think
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll pay for it in the end.
Okay. All right. So, one of the things that does happen is that, our choices and our decisions do matter, and they do have consequences. So it's really important that I tell you that. I don't want to lie to you and tell you that your choice and your choice does not matter. So it does matter, and there are consequences. And so what we want to talk about is what are you prepared to live with, the long-term consequences or the current. So one of the things we want to do is let you know that we have really excellent support for you here at the center as far as helping you connect with housing, helping you collect with finances, helping you connect with baby clothes and all that kind of stuff. We have the training program here as well called Home with a Heart that we offer. So you can plug into a training course that will teach you about parenting, about how do all this, how to make meals, how to do all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of support. Right? So you're not in this alone. So this feeling like your crisis that I'm going to have to do this all by myself, because your parents are last and things like that. So just know that we have a lot of support there for you that will really help you to make a decision that you're going to be able to live with.
And I'm guessing women hear that and they go, but like, okay, so you guys are going to pay for my education. Like, I have a house to live in and I need to finish school. Like, are you serious? Like, can you put me in a house?
Yeah, so we do have connections within the community resources and things like that we can help you for sure to make the connections.
Like, what do I do about schooling? Like,
so you know what? You're not alone. You are not alone. So there are a lot of times that people may be able to, depending on we go through when babies due, what's going on in school, and a lot of people are still able to really lead a full life. But the main thing is that you're going to be able to make a decision that you're going to be able to live in the long term. So, so we'll take a look at what's going on now. We'll help you through that as best we can. And then we'll help you. You'll be actually quite surprised how many support that you do have around you. So, sometimes I try to pull out of you, maybe not the girlfriend that said just go do it, get it over with, but who else do you have in your life that might be a support? Is there, a sister or a relative or something like that? Is there anybody else that you could have a support? You have us as a support for sure. But, try to pull out of you what other supports you may have, because you might be surprised. And a lot of times they are surprised because in the crisis, that's all they're thinking about. But once they, oh yeah,
my grandma would love it.
Okay, so, we talked about a recent client, which is that I worked with, and she came in and, oh, wow, she was in a crisis. She was bawling and and we went through very similar, she's not from the faith base, but she kind of think that it wouldn't be right to, so she did have that little bit of, and that's what we kind of pull on. I said, okay, well, what's going on? Well, I'm living with my boyfriend and he's a drug dealer, and I actually just had a restraining order because he pushed me the other day, so I called the police and he can't come within 100 yards of me, and she's just like pouring all this stuff out, and I'm like, all right, okay, all right. And she'd come from a separated family, her parents were divorced, and her dad was in another relationship, so she just had all sorts of that. I said, okay, so let's just kind of think about it, that sort of things, I can tell she wasn't totally sold on the idea of an abortion, but she thought that was her only option. And a lot of times, that's where they are, is that, okay, that's the quick fix, that's what'll solve it. So I said, okay, let's just kind of calm down. Let's think about who in your life would be a good support for you, and what would your mom say if you, what would your dad say? And, oh, my dad would be just so happy. And then you can just usually tell in the posture, because, oh my dad, oh my gosh, he'd be so excited. And my grandma, oh my goodness, my grandma, and then she said, okay, so what do you think would they be supportive for you? Would you be able to find support for them? She said, oh, for sure. I said, okay, all right. So this is what we offer at the center. This is how we can help you. And what we'll do is just come in, let's plan a schedule, and I have them come in every week. So, the Tuesday I'm in the center, for instance, so I say, okay, next Tuesday morning, come and we'll sit and we'll talk and we'll process. And so then that's kind of what we did, and it just helped her kind of.
And keeping that touch with them, I think, is important, right? Because I shared last week, I feel like I did a good job with the intro with the student that was dealing with it, but then of course she's going back to an environment that I have no idea about, being able to keep.
And you're going to have people who are going to say to you, that girlfriend, just go get it over with, and then you're still going to have this conflict. And depend on the strength of their character, or kind of where they are. If they don't have that support, they could easily buckle to that pressure. So,
you said you were texting.
I'm texting. I'm learning to text. I am. So I would, I had, and so I would just drop a quick note, how you doing? And, she would reply back, doing, and things like that. She said, oh, it's really shitty right now, or something like that. She was wonderful. She had very colorful language. It was kind of different. So she had no problem just kind of, laying it out there. But it was really.
One of the things that you did too when we went through it was, so I'm in crisis mode, and I'm thinking like, I think I don't know anything about abortion, but I just want to end it right now. And you had taken out one of these books here.
Yes. So one of the things we want to do is help them kind of know exactly, because depending on the information you get, like girlfriends say, I was done and over with it, it's like, okay, wait a minute. It's not quite that simple. So let's take a look at, and we will find out based on where her last menstrual cycle was, kind of how far along she is. So we'll say, okay, so
10 weeks, I think.
So 10 weeks, okay, so this is what the baby looks like right now. And it's really, really nice pamphlet that's done out. So it's kind of just shows them, so it brings it out from, this blob of tissue to, okay, this is what's going on inside of you right now. And
so like at 10 weeks, it's saying like the baby's brain is growing rapidly. Each minute it produces almost 250,000 new neurons. The upper and lower portions of the arms and legs are clearly seen, as well as the fingers and toes. By now, the external ear is fully developed, and a baby boy begins to produce the male hormone testosterone, and there's pictures as well. So okay.
So then we talk about that, and then we talk about, okay, this is typically what the abortion procedures be like, and so we want to make sure that full well going into it, because especially if there's that conflict there, this is what's going to be happening. So, you'll go into the hospital. In the early stages, there's a couple of drugs that they give you that just work on your hormone levels, and also make sure that the uterus doesn't produce all the things that it needs to do, so that the tissue becomes viable, right? So
and that was my one of my questions too. I was like, I don't know what happens in abortion. I've heard of like the suction machines, but I don't know all those other things. But so basically, up to 12 weeks, it's
up
pills.
to 12 weeks. It's a couple of drugs that they give you. So you go 2 days. You go in the first day, and they give you one drug, and you come back 2 days later, and then they give you another. So the first drug kind of make sure that, and then the next drug causes you to basically go into contractions, so that and usually, oftentimes, it's very tragic, but this will be done on your own. You'll be at home by yourself. They'll give you the pills and send you home, and you will feel these horrible contractions at home. And typically, it's in the bathroom, and you will, just have it'll seem like a really heavy period, and you will just expel the contents of your uterus. And it's very, very traumatic. Right? This is one of the things that we're finding out. We're seeing research now that's showing that that's actually become more traumatic for because of the fact that they're typically alone and have no support, and they're dealing with this. Wow.
Right.